What is going, Poke fans? Welcome to CCG Castle. In today's video, we're looking at Entei deck. So it is a fire water deck for the standard format, and it features the latest card from the Brilliant Star set. It is a Entei. It is pretty much the same card as the Suicune Wii, with pretty much the same ability and attack, but it's only fire type with a little bit more HP. So there are actually two different options how you can play Entei. You can either way play it with, let's say, you can play it with Ludicolo, or you can play it with Heat Fire energies that can actually add 20 more HP to the Entei. In this situation, I decided to build a deck with Ludicolo with the Enthusiastic Dance ability, which says that when you play Ludicolo from your hand to evolve one of your Pokemon during your turn, you might use this ability, and during this turn your basic Pokemon attacks do 100 more damage to your opponent's active Pokemon, meaning that in total we have 5 Pokemons on each bench, and also Entei in the active position. Burning Rondo will hit for 20 plus 20 more for each of opponent and our benched Pokemon in play, which will be 220 in total. But if we combine that with the choice build, theoretically we can increase damage down to Wii Pokemons by 30 more. And with something like Ludicolo, that damage can be increased for 100 more, so that in total can be 350 damage. With 350 damage in total, we can overhit pretty much anything in the current meta, which is really interesting deck idea. So deck basically is focused around Entei. Flip-flooded ability is very powerful ability. It allows you to draw a card once during your turn. Then we have 2 copies of Loaded and Ludicolo, and also 4/4/2 line of Sobol, Drizzile with Shaded Dealings, and Inteleon with Shaded Dealings ability. Inteleon is here really good because we can rare candy quickly into it, and we can search our deck for 2 trainer cards, build them, and put in our hand and shuffle our deck. So by being able to choose 2 trainer cards from our deck, we can pretty much maybe go for 2 cross switches, and then we can play both cross switches and use the switch plus catcher effect on our opponent bench, which is really powerful. Raihan also helps us a little bit as well to go for those cross switches. Additionally speaking, it's pretty interesting and pretty simple deck list, as you can see. So almost 4 of the search cards that can be used for this deck, and then also rare candies and scoop up nets. And there are also some new supporter cards and stadium cards like Cynthia's Ambition. The reason why I decided to play Cynthia's Ambition is the fact that we can draw cards till we have 5 cards in our hand, but if any of our Pokemon were knocked out during our opponent's last turn, we can draw cards until we have 8 in our hand. Sometimes we might find ourselves in the position where we don't want to discard our hand, neither play Marnie, but we just want to grab more cards with the Drizzile, for example. Let's say we have 1 card in our hand, then we can definitely go with Cynthia's Ambition and draw 7 extra cards. Why? Because that 1 card might be specifically something like a cross switcher, and that's the reason why, or maybe a rare candy that you want to preserve. But yeah, Cross Switcher is a very interesting card. It is a Fusion Strike card from the Fusion Strike set that says that you must play 2 Cross Switch cards at once. This effect works only 1 time for 2 cards. Switch one of your opponent's benched Pokemon with their active Pokemon. If you do, switch your active Pokemon with one of your benched Pokemons. And that's very important because we have Magma Basin in this deck, which help us to accelerate Entei. Once during each player's turn, that player may attach a Fire Energy card from their hand, from their discard pile to one of their benched Pokemon. If a player attached energy to a Pokemon in this way, put 2 damage counter in that Pokemon. Downside of the Magma Basin obviously is the fact that you need to place 2 damage counters in Entei, but then again, even with those 2 extra damage counters in Entei, we can theoretically attack turn 1, which is really powerful, obviously. Then we also have Echoing Horde. It is another Rapid Strike, actually this time is a Rapid Strike, not a Fusion Strike card that allows us to put a basic Pokemon from opponent's discard pile on their bench. So we can specifically try to target something like, let's say, Luminium, Crobat, maybe Arceus, or something that is actually in the range of the knockout, but also it increases the damage for 20 more for our Entei attack, and this kind of important to mention as well. Obviously, we need to have at least one energy surge. It is a very tight list, and unfortunately, you can't squeeze so many good cards in it. I'm even liking one escape rope, to be honest, but I would really like to play 2 energy surge deck for basic energy card, which is very important because we want to search the deck for basic energy, put it in our hands so we can discard maybe with the effect of a quick ball. And yeah, that's the reason why we actually need to have it. Yeah, on the other side, I mean, it is how it is. Evolution Instance times 4, search deck for evolution Pokemon, level ball times 4, quick ball times 4, so 4 of each as max as possible. Then we have 3 copies of Rare Candy and 3 copies of Scoop Up Net. Put one of the Pokemon that isn't Pokemon Wii or a Pokemon GX in our hand. So by using Scoop Up Net, we can play multiple time Inteleon, get those Shading Dealings and the training cards that we need. I already mentioned one, Cynthia's Ambition. Draw cards till you have 5 in your hand. If any of your Pokemon were knocked out during opponent's last turn, draw cards till you have 8 in your hand. There's also one Marty. Sometimes you really want to have Marty option, specifically against Mew decks. It's well known that Mew cannot disrupt your hand, but you sometimes would really love to be able to disrupt their hand. But just in case if our opponent have so many cards in their hand, we would like to maybe disrupt it. Also, 1 copy of Research, discard hand, drop 7. 1 copy of Raihan, attach basic energy from discard pile to one of your Pokemon. If you do search deck for a card and put it in your hand and shuffle your deck, you can play only this card if one of your Pokemon were knocked out during your opponent's last turn, so you're not able to play Raihan without your Pokemon being knocked out last turn. But there's a Marnie's Pride, for example, that can be used. And it might be better, it might be worse. It depends how you look at it. There's also 1 copy of Cape of Toughness, plus 50 HP to Entei, so it can have 280 total, plus 1 Choice Belt, and obviously 2 copies of Capture Energies and 6 regular Fire basic energy cards. So overall, it is a interesting deck, no doubt about it. I mean, let's be honest, this is not the deck that's considered to be a top tier, unfortunately. If you're gonna play versus Suicune, you're gonna lose probably. It actually depends. I mean, the first thing about matchup versus Suicune with Entei is the fact that you have weakness. So even if you're going first, for example, even if you go second, it really doesn't matter. Turn 1 for Suicune player, if he goes second, he can one-hit knock with your Entei, especially if Entei is in the active position, because they just need 5 Pokemons on the bench and 1 in the active, or combined 5 Pokemons on both benches and 1 in the active, so that's 120 times 2, 240, so Entei can be easily one-hit knocked out by the Suicune. I didn't see for a while Leafeon in the format. Entei would melt Leafeon for sure, but yeah, overall, I mean, it's not considered to be a top tier deck, so that's for sure. So if you're looking just for a cool deck to be able to play at your locals, and you are bored of the current meta, Entei is definitely a way to go. I like it personally. Some cards that might potentially be good in this deck, maybe 1 more copy of the Loaded, maybe let's say 3 more Ultra Ball cards, -1 Evolution Instance, and then we would just cut completely those cross switches. For example, we can even go with something like this. Let's say if we add some Ultra Ball cards, let's go with the Ultra Ball. For example, we can add those new Ultra Ball cards, and then we would also need a boss's order as well, and then that can look like something like this. We would also like to maybe have 2 copies of a boss order, at least 2 copies of boss's orders, but maybe we could even play, let's say, 4-3-3-3 line, and then have that extra boss order in a build as well, potentially speaking. So just in case if one of our loaded is priced, so we can always have 2 in play, so we can have every single turn that extra 100 damage. But then again, we can play 2 loadeds, maybe add 1 more escape rope as well, and maybe even just cut some of the Cynthia's ambitions and Marnie's and add even more researchers as well. It's up to you. Yeah, you should definitely try to test it and see what's the best strategy for the deck by yourself. So anyways, I hope you enjoy watching it. Make sure to consider subscribing to the channel for more videos, hit the thumbs up and notification bell so you don't miss any future video. Feel free to ask anything if you would like to know about this deck idea in the comments below. We'll see you next time. So till then, have a nice day and goodbye.